All right, so we have a system working that makes for really responsive, touch-sensitive, like plants and anything. And I'm not wired to anything, but I can just touch this moss very gently and it sends a really nice signal. I can even jump off the ground and it can sense when I'm off the ground. We're not 100% sure how it works or why it works, but here's our setup. We have some plants gator clipped to this lily pad. The plants are hooked up to the analog input. The analog input is going to a 1 mega ohm resistor that is then going to the ground on the lily pad. When I just set this down on the ground, it somehow is sending a signal through the ground and up to me. This other gator clip that I'm touching here, this is just hooked up to the 3 volts line on the lily pad, which is the confusing and weird part. This is sensing me just because I'm getting 3 volts in my body and somehow it's going through there. It's weird. But if I touch right here at the bare metal, it totally sends a signal through, even to these plants that are just laying there. I forgot to mention, we put salt water on those plants, and that's the magic key to make them make good contact with the ground somehow. So, if I touch this piece of conductive string right here, it also gives us good signal. If I touch these dry plants, it's actually doing a little bit. These ones are still a little wet. But if I touch something wetter, let's see. Like some of these plants are much juicier. They work really well. And this moss is still pretty juicy and it's working quite well as well. So we're going through with these plants that are drying and see how they work for touching and squeezing interfaces. And I'm not touching any metal at all here. And as long as I am barefoot in the ground, this is working. And it's working over quite a distance. I can even go all the way over here, and I'm going straight to the ground that's grounded all the way over there. We've measured it before, and it seems like when I get closer to where we're plugged into the ground, it actually goes up, our signal goes up a little bit higher, and if I'm further away, it goes down a little bit lower. But still, this is really weird. This isn't really how I would think resistive sensing is supposed to work. But now, what we're gonna do is, with things like these right here are pretty dry. Well, actually, they're still working pretty good. They're all kind of working real good now. Okay. Some of them, they all seem to be working nice now. But I was gonna try to dump some water on them and see how much they become more responsive. So I have a pitcher of some salt water. This is just some Slovenian table salt mixed with some water, and I have something like this. This isn't giving me much of a reading here, but now I'm gonna pour this on it. And now, like just barely touching this plant makes it incredibly sensitive. Before I had to squeeze it, and now you can hear what a crazy difference that made. And this was just a quick splash, right? I'm not making a better connection at the metal point here with the string. I really just kind of splashed on salt water on the edges of this plant.